everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Faye. If you're new here, you might not have seen that recently I did a video of my most expensive makeup products. So today, in contrast, we're going to use my cheapest, most affordable products and see what kind of a look we can get out of those so that we can compare it against the full face of more fancy stuff. So yeah, I have Rimmel, I have Wet n Wild, I have Revolution, I have an eyeshadow palette from Amazon, I have a bunch of stuff. Let's jump in and get started. Okay, I have my headband on. Make sure I don't get any of those annoying wispy little hairs. I've got my beauty blender, I've got my palette. What's first? Let's get started. Okay, the first thing I have is the L'Oreal Infallible Mattifying Base. This is a silicone primer. It's a reasonably good one. It's got that typical silicone slip. It's not too thick. I wouldn't say it's really like pore filling or anything because it's not really thick enough for that, but it is mattifying, certainly. So I'm just going to put this through the T-zone because I have dry skin, so I don't want to put it everywhere. But you know, it feels all right. I mean, it feels like pretty much any other silicone primer, to be honest. But you know, I think the mattifying claim is true. For foundation, oh no, I have another primer. This is the Revolution Hydrating Under-Eye Primer. So I thought we'd whack a bit of that on. And oh, it's kind of like a peachy colour. See if that does anything for the old under eyes. Oh, it does feel quite nice. This feels like a kind of like an eye cream slash a primer. Like I think it must have silicone in it. It feels, yeah, it feels a little silicone-y, but also kind of moisturising. That's quite nice, and it's not stinging or burning or anything, so that's a good start. For foundation, I have the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. This is the original, not the new dewier one. This is light, clair, warm, chaude. Like it's got a whole load of names there, but it's a light one. It's soft ivory, and it's kind of annoying because it has this weird paddle that I'm gonna just like dump some on a palette now, and then use a sponge. Because I don't want to put this directly on my face and then put it back in the bottle. Like, it doesn't seem like, I'll maybe just pour some out of the bottle. Oh, I don't want to get too much. Okay, hopefully that's going to be enough. Alright, got some on my palette. It looks like a okay colour for me. Let's just pop some of this on the skin. Fluff on me. How do I get fluff on me already? It does smell weird. It does smell kind of like paint, which you all probably know already because this foundation has 1,000,001 reviews here on YouTube, and everyone says it's a good foundation that smells funny. I dropped my beauty blender on the floor. That's not good. That's not going to be clean no more. Okay, I've been to give it a quick wash. Hopefully this foundation is still liquidy on my face. Yeah, that dried down a bit. Ugh, try and blend it. This is a little bit matte for me. Like, that's just my skin with this foundation. That's not saying something bad about the foundation. That's just me, and my skin are just a little bit too dry probably to really love this foundation, and it does smell weird. And it's not really, I've tried to build it up a bit on this spot here, but so this foundation, like I said, a little bit dry on me. It does look a little bit cakey where I've got some blemishes. It hasn't really covered that there, so we'll go in with concealer. The two concealers I have might be a bit light for concealing blemishes on the face, but we'll find out. It's the Collection Lasting Perfection and the Revolution Conceal and Define. I am One Fair and C3 I have here, which I don't know what the colours are going to be like. This one is very, very slightly cheaper, but they're both very affordable. Let's look at what this is like. Is this going to be dark enough for the face? Okay, we'll use this one as a little spot conceal. Maybe a tiny bit light, but not too bad. I don't want it to go cakey, but I don't know, I don't want to add too much, but I do want to cover it. Okay, we'll leave it there, and it's a little bit light, but we're going to put some bronzer on, so hopefully that will do the job. Tiny bit there. Little bit on the chin area. Okay, let's blend this out. Oh, not the mirror. This does dry down quite quickly. I think it was like meant to try and be a bit like the Tarte Shape Tape. I'm not sure that it really is. Has the same massive doe foot applicator. Looks a tiny bit cakey. I'm gonna let that dry down and put some concealer under the eyes, and then I might take a little bit of foundation and try and just go over where it's too light with that concealer. That's just me shade matching off the internet and not getting it right. So I'll put this one under the eyes. I really like this concealer. This is a really good concealer. If you're looking for an affordable option, Collection do some lovely products. If you want a more full coverage matte foundation, you know, for oilier skin, the foundation in this range is also pretty good. Why can I not like do my under eyes without pulling a weird face? I'm gonna put a little bit of this on the lids as well, just to act as a primer for eyeshadow later. Cancel out any dark tones on the eyelid. These products are all a little bit matte for me, I think. I might have some crepey under eyes going on later. This is a good concealer though, and I used this quite a lot when I was a teenager and I had oilier skin. So I would definitely recommend it if that's you. Probably now that I'm a bit older and I have slightly drier under eyes. I'm not sure this primer is really making much difference. I still think my under eyes look a bit creasy and crepey. You can see little fine lines in my magnifying mirror. It's getting old. But it is a good concealer. There's no denying that it is a very good concealer. The consistency is really nice. It's blendable. It's not full coverage, but it's a good medium. It's good on oily skin. They do not very many shades, unfortunately. But if you are in the paler to medium-y, yeah, and then it's like a lot of drugstore stuff, you know, that they're not good on shades. And you know, some of the bigger brands have been getting a lot better, you know, brands like Maybelline, L'Oreal are a lot better on shades these days, but then like, and also Revolution does quite a lot of shades. Collection still, it's not the biggest brand, and it still only really caters to white people, unfortunately. I'm going to take a little bit more foundation now, my beauty blender, and try and go over. This might end up looking a bit cakey because I'm trying to get the shade to match better where I've already put concealer, but we'll give it a go. Okay, we'll stop there before I get like super cake face. What do I have next? Oh, I have this. This is the e.l.f. Aqua blush and bronze. It doesn't actually have any names on it. And I think, oh, it does. Bronzed pink beige. Okay. It looks like this. They're cream formulas. I think this might be discontinued, but it was really cheap, so I'm going to throw it in anyway, and then I will continue on with products that are mostly not discontinued. A couple of my cheapest things, you know, like Revolution and stuff, they bring out stuff and then they discontinue it. Like I have the old Revolution palette. I'm not going to use it today because it is discontinued, but one of the old Revolution palettes that's like a knockoff of the Naked palettes, like from ages ago, they did those. So those are super cheap, but I'm actually going to use an Amazon eyeshadow palette today because that's newer. Let's use a little bit of this bronzer. I actually like this. I quite like the formula on it. It's sort of a stiff, thick cream. It's not like super creamy, but if you dip your beauty blender in, you do pick up quite a lot of product. It is quite nice and blendable. Again, if you were someone with oilier skin, this is not like super creamy and super slick, but yeah, I think it is a discontinued product, unfortunately. Oh, it's sticking there where I put the extra foundation, and the foundation is slightly damper because I just put a little bit of extra there. The rest of it's dried down and then I put a bit of extra where it's, so it's a bit damper there and it's stuck a bit weird, but okay, that's a bit better. It's perhaps a little bit orange. I think when I bought this I was a bit more tanned than I am now. Yeah, the coverage is coming off this little spot again. So irritating. Now it looks weird. Put some bronzer on it. Okay, I give up. I give up with this, I give up. We're gonna forget about that. We're gonna forget about that little blemish that we have going on there. Bronzer nose a little bit. Go for a little bit of a sun-kissed. I tend to just whack some bronzer on the bridge of my nose, like rather than contour my nose where you would have the darkness down the side and the lightness in the middle. My nose is already pointy. I don't want it to be any pointier. So I just whack some bronzer on it as if it's looking a bit sun-kissed, because it would get sun exposure. It's not really a shade for contouring, but I'm going to whack a little bit on because I don't have really I only really have expensive contour, the Kevyn Aucoin contour. I had a Revolution cream contour palette a really long time ago that I got rid of because it got a bit weird and gloopy and sticky, and I didn't really use it very much, and I felt like if I don't use it, I shouldn't have it. I really have been trying to only buy and use and buy and keep things that I actually use and not buy too much, especially during this crisis. I don't want to be doing a ton of online shopping and making delivery workers and people packaging up in warehouses have loads to do, because I want them to ideally be social distancing. Okay, we'll stop there with that. Or should we use some blush? Should we use the blush from it? No, I'm going to use a different blush, a powder blush. So now I think we can move on to powder, which I don't need a ton of because, like I said, these are products that are quite matte. Just try and get rid of the little creases before I set. Don't want to set any unsmooth concealer. So I have the Rimmel Insta Fix and Matte in translucent. This powder I think is a little drying. I do still like it, but I like my Gosh powder more, but this one was cheaper, so we are going to use this one today. Also, I think it doesn't go well with certain formulas. Like I used it in a video of old favourites with my Misha BB cream, and the two didn't really seem to like each other that much. Make sure I got some set in my smile lines, because this is the bit that always goes creasy on me. Set where I got that chin concealer. It's already looking a little bit patchy. Like I said, I think some of these products are just not hydrating enough for me. I would really like to try the new Wet n Wild foundation, but when I went to Boots before this whole craziness started, it had only just come out in the States and they didn't have it in the UK yet at Boots, so that's why I haven't got it. I'm going to use the tiniest bit of powder to set everywhere else, because like I said, these products are quite matte, but I am going to put powder, blush and highlight on top, and I don't want them to skip or, you know, grab weirdly to dryness or wetness if everything is a little bit variable. So I do like to set everywhere, even though I have dry skin, just so that all the other products apply smoothly and without skipping or catching. Right. Blush. Yes, I have this from Revolution now. Revolution don't make this exact blush anymore. I think I got this from like £1 in the sale, but Revolution do still make cheap single blushes. They are round now, not square, but they do still make them. I think they're about £4. This is shade Love. Oh, it's cute. But like I say, they don't make this exact one. Whoa, a lot came off. They don't make this exact one now, but they do have other cheap blushes. Oh my gosh, that was too much blush. That was pigmented. That was really pigmented. Let's just take a, this is like a duo fibery, is it duo fiber? I don't know, it's like a weird, like finishing, blending-y brush thing. I don't know what you call it. Does it say? It just says finishing on it. So yeah, let's be a bit more careful this time with that blush. It's not the most blendable. Like I say, this was super cheap. Now you can find Revolution online. I think they're also on Beauty Bay and on Superdrug. Wow, one cheek has a bit more blush than the other. Okay, we're gonna stop there because that was more intense than I remember. I haven't used this in a while. Like I say, I got it in the sale, and then, you know, sometimes you see something in the sale and you buy it and then you didn't really need it and you don't really use it that much. Like, then you're like, why did I buy it? And then you're like, oh yeah, because it was like £1. But still, why did I buy it? Like, I don't really need it. I have a ton of blush, but there's nothing wrong with it as long as you're careful with your application, like I was not. For highlight, we have the Wet n Wild Mega Glow. This is the shade Blossom Glow. I have two shades of this, but I'm quite pale right now, so I'm going to stick with this. I don't usually use like a pinky toned highlight. I usually go for more of a gold, but this is pretty and it is quite intense. So I'm going to go in more carefully than I did with the blush. Ooh. That is quite pink. I have a different shade as well. Can't remember what it is. I'll put the name up. And it's more of a peach, and I prefer that. But I'm a bit pale right now, so I thought I'd use this one. But it's a bit more pink than I would like. I've said before in other videos, the reason I don't use a lot of pink highlight is because I have a more neutral to warm undertone, and pink just doesn't look like a natural highlight. Like, look at this. This is like so pink. It's clearly like very shiny, highlighty and unnatural, whereas if it was more of a gold or a peach, it would look a bit better on my skin tone. But never mind. It is a nice highlight. Like, these highlights are, if you do want like a boom highlight, these are quite pretty. They're just a little bit intense for what I wanted today. The idea with the fan brush was to go in more gently, but that didn't quite work out. Clearly I'm having a bit of an off day today. I think it's a stress. Like, I'm supposed to be moving house, and obviously we're in the middle of an epidemic, and moving house is kind of hard and stressful. Yeah. I have a bit more bronzer to add on top. I don't really need any, but I thought I'd throw it in anyway because I have this is just my cheapest powder bronzer, the L'Oreal Back to Bronze. It's not like super cheap, it's like, you know, L'Oreal price, but I don't have a cheaper one. So let's just throw a little bit of this. Maybe we can take down that highlight a bit with a little bit of bronzer. Throw a bit down the neck. Because I might look a little bit, do I look a bit orange? I feel like that foundation definitely oxidized. So you could see when I went back in with a bit more foundation to try and blend in over those blemishes where I put the concealer that was a bit too light, you could see that the foundation I was going in and applying looked paler than what had dried down on my skin. It didn't look the same color. Obviously it was the exact same product, but you could clearly tell that the fresh, wet foundation was much lighter than the dried down foundation on my face. Try and put a little bit of bronzer here where I've got that slight blemish, concealer, foundation mix issue. The risk of being a bit too brown. Let's just try and... This side looks better, guys. We'll just look at this side of my face, okay? Okay. Moving on to eyes, I have this eyeshadow palette. It is the Find eyeshadow palette. Find is an Amazon brand, I believe. This is shade, or collection or whatever, 02. Now, these are currently out of stock. I think too many people bought them because they're currently out of stock. And also coronavirus might be why they're out of stock. But I can't see the original price of these because it just says currently available. But I did buy it on a sale for, I think, £3.03. And I haven't really used it yet. I've swatched it a little bit. And I've used a couple of the colours, but not like a full look. So yeah, I got it on sale for £3, but it was probably more than that. It was probably more like £7 without the discount, but that's still really cheap for an eyeshadow palette. So we're gonna go in with this. If I grab my brushes, you can see it comes with a little sponge tip thing, but I'm not really gonna use that. It has some really pretty shades. I'm not sure what the pigment's gonna be like. I'm not sure what the blendability is gonna be like. Don't know about these metallics, but it looks cute. Has some nice warmer shades and there's a nice gold in there. So we'll have a little play. So I'm gonna start with, ooh, a bit dusty. There's a lot of kickback. Okay, I'm gonna start with this lighter shade here, and then probably a little bit of this one as well in the crease. So the very lightest, sort of a peachy nude, it's gonna brush that all over. Make sure we've got a base down that's gonna be smooth. The other eyeshadows are gonna blend on top of. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with that pink, just a bit more in the crease. This is quite a big fluffy brush because I'm just going to do something quite soft. So far, all right. Not huge on the pigmentation, but I don't want a transition shade to be super pigmented really. So, you know, not complaining so far. Right, I'm going to take a slightly smaller brush now, still very sort of soft and fluffy, and I'm going to go into this slightly darker, sort of dusty rose shade here. Like, no, the shades don't have names. Oh gosh, there's a lot of kickback. It is very, you see that? It is, brush poking right in the camera, it is very powdery. If you can, I'm just going to take this little spoolie thing out so that it's not in the way. This here is super powdery, but I don't mind that too much as long as the colour is nice and it blends well. So I'm going to tap my brush off. Oh, I'm quite happy with the shade. I like this shade. It's blending all right. Okay, next I'm going to go into another matte shade. This is a matte brown, and I'm going to take a smaller brush. And I'm still going to go into the crease. This is an Eco Tools. Again, it's quite fluffy. You can see. So I'm going into this brown. Tiny dab, because these are, I think, quite pigmented actually. Little tap off. Back in with this fluffy brush to blend, the one I use with the pink shade. Okay, let's try some of these metallics. I'm going to try this pink, and I'm just going to use my finger because metallics usually apply better with a finger. It's not the most metallic ever, but it's not terrible. I'm going to try a little spritz of spray. So I'm going to go in with my finger into the shadow, then I'm going to spritz my hand, then I'm going to try and lay it down. Does that look any different? It doesn't look that different to me. Let me take a brush. Let's take a brush. What brush have we got? I'm gonna use a concealer brush. That's what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna put it in my product. I'm gonna spray it. Okay, that's a little bit brighter, I think. That's a bit brighter. Do you agree? It's a little bit better. It's a nice colour. I do like the colour of it. It's just not quite as metallic as I want. I don't have fallout under the eyes, which is good, but I think that's because I tapped my brush off really thoroughly because of the dustiness in the pan. I'm gonna go with this pinky coppery shade towards the outer edge. Again, I'm just gonna take my finger. That one, oh, this one's a bit more pigmented. Okay, it doesn't want to blend there very much. Let's take a fluffy brush. I'm just taking a bit more of the matte pink shade, the matte dusty rose. This one here. Just try and blend that. It's blended better on this eye. Go back in with the smaller one again, a little bit of that matte brown. And as I've blended, you can see quite a lot of the metallic kind of sheen has gone, so I'm just going to carefully pop this back in place. Okay, it's pretty. It's not the greatest eyeshadow palette ever, but it is pretty. I will give it that. You are okay. I'm going to take a bit of the Wet n Wild highlight for my inner corner. Let's put something on the lower lash line. What shall we do? I'm going to take a small pencil brush. I'm going to start with some of that matte brown. Just putting that really close up to the lash line. It's quite a nice shade of brown. I do quite like this. It's quite a warm brown. Then I'm going to take some of that dusty rose pink and use that to blend it a little bit lower. Okie doke. Eyeliner time. This is the Rimmel Scandaleyes in Deep Wine. It's a little blunt, but never mind. I'm gonna tight line with this. Let's also put a little on the lower waterline, seeing as I haven't done anything there yet. So put a little bit on there. I'm going to blend it so that it's a bit softer. Just blending it up and out slightly. And then in at the top. It's like a very, very faint sort of dusty wing I've got going on now. I think my cheapest brow pencil is probably the NYX brow pencil. So I'm going to quickly fill in my brows with espresso. Looking at my eyes and trying to decide if I want to add some cream eyeshadow. I do have one here. This is a CYO pigment. It's gold. I was thinking about applying some when I first pulled out stuff for this look, but as soon as I've gone more pink with everything, I'm gonna just mention this and then put it to one side and not use it. But it is very nice and very pigmented. So now we've got eyes and brows. Before we do brow mascara and eyelash mascara, setting spray, I'm going to do lips. So this is the Gosh lip liner. This is waterproof. This is Antique Rose. This is a nice shade. I like this shade. My lips are so dry right now. Usually my lips are okay because I use a lot of lip products to hydrate them. But I've been so stressed and I'm biting my lips so badly that now they're super dry and flaky, even with cream and stuff. Because yeah, if you bite them, they will just get a really uneven texture. I'll exfoliate them tonight. And put on my Laneige lip sleeping mask and hope for the best. I mean, it's just joining a theme with this makeup because everything looks a bit dry, to be honest. Oh, I should have put some lip balm on first because I'm going to go with a liquid lip. This is Stay Matte from Rimmel. What shade is this? Does it have the shade somewhere? 200 Pink Blink. That is not the same colour as a lip liner. Oh well. It's just not my day today. Okay, it's on. I don't wear liquid lips a lot, and oh my god, my eye is watering so badly. I don't use liquid lips a lot. Oh my god, my eye. Bloody hay fever season is what it is. My eye is just watering so much. I don't use liquid lips a lot. My favourite liquid lipstick is, oh my god, I'm just going to lose all my under eye makeup in a minute because my eye is watering so badly. But Does anyone else get really bad hay fever? It is honestly just a killer. Like for makeup, like when your eyes keep watering and there's just nothing you can do about it basically, apart from try and add a tiny bit more concealer with a brush. What was I saying? Yeah, it's not my favourite liquid lip formula. I prefer the Gosh ones, but it isn't too drying, which I like. Okay, I'm trying to put a bit of concealer under my eye where my eye is watering, but it's not really working. You know, sometimes we just have days where things do not go well for us. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's the product. Like, I know this is like a video of cheap products, but I'm not trying to make things go badly. I'm just having a day. And something like this is nothing to do with whether the product is good or not. It just means that I have hay fever and my eyes will not stop watering. Let's put a tiny bit of eyeshadow. Let's go with that matte dusty pink. I like this matte dusty pink. I'm a fan of the colour. The formula's okay, the colour is nice. I like the colours. I think the colour selection was good. Ugh. For spray, what was cheaper? Okay, I've got Milani Make It Dewy and I have NYX Dewy, but in the Instafix and matte bottle. I used some of this to dampen my brush when I was applying my eyeshadow. Got the lid on. So I will use some of the NYX one. I'll put both the prices up. I looked everything else up before I did the video, and for setting spray I just forgot. Lipstick, teeth. Oh, my lips are dry, okay. Setting spray will fix everything, she said. Hopefully, because my face feels kind of dry, even though I didn't put that much powder on. Okay, now I'm really damp, so hopefully that's going to fix everything. Sometimes setting spray is just the miracle step, particularly when your face feels dry. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, final steps. So I have brow mascara. Recently I've really been loving the Boy Brow in Clear, but that's a little pricey. So instead I have the NYX Tinted Brow Mascara. Now I did have a darker one, I think. Was it called Espresso, like the liner? I can't remember. And I broke it. Like I was screwing the lid on and I cracked the bottle like here and I had to throw it away. So this one is a little bit light for me right now. It is brunette, but we're gonna whack it on. The wand is a little bit big for my brows, but never mind. It is a nice brow gel. This is the one I used pretty much exclusively, the dark one anyway, before I crack. Again, I'm just having a day, guys. This is just not my day. Got some brow gel above my brow where I don't want it. Just having a bad day. Okay. Let's pretend that didn't happen. That's because, like I said, the wand is just a tiny bit big for me. Prefer a slightly smaller wand, but there you go. Oh, my eyes are watering so much. Like, I've taken hay fever tablets and everything, and not any hay fever tablets. I took prescription hay fever tablets, like strong ones, and my eyes are still watering and burning, generally misbehaving. I do like this brow gel, even though I am getting it everywhere today. I think I'm just like tired. My hand is shaking a bit as I'm trying to do stuff and it's really interfering with everything. Okay, mascara. As you guys know, if you've seen videos before, I always use the exact same two mascaras, so there's nothing exciting there. And the reason I'm never curling my lashes is because I can't find my eyelash colour. So when I find my eyelash colour, I will go back to curling my lashes. But until then, we just have to rely on the mascara wand to give them a bit of lift. And then when I find my eyelash curler, I will go back to lash curling. I have an electric, I mean heated, I guess it is electric, a heated eyelash curler. It's USB charge, so you can plug it into the computer and it will charge. And then, you know, you don't have to worry, it doesn't get like super hot. If you've never used a heated eyelash curler before, they don't get really hot. They just get warm enough that you press them like up against your lashes like this, and it will curl them and bend them upwards. And I find it much better than the traditional pincer type, because with the pincer type, I would always get some skin. Like, I don't know if it's just the shape or size of my eye, but I would always pinch my skin right on the inner corner there. And it's really painful, really painful. And it also removes your makeup from where you just pinched it with the curler. And so I'd always be, every time, running a risk that I was going to injure myself. So I got a heated one. First I got one that had batteries in it, but it ran out really quickly and I was going through so many batteries, and batteries are expensive. So then I bought a USB rechargeable one off of Amazon, and I love it, and I've been using it ever since, well, until now when I can't find it. Like, moving from my parents to my parents, I moved just before the coronavirus got super serious and we went into like a lockdown. I moved over here shortly before that because my housemate at home is a nurse, and so she's going into the hospital and she's quite likely to be exposed to coronavirus, and I have a really weak immune system and I'm supposed to avoid being exposed to coronavirus. So now I am isolating myself here at my parents instead, but that means we moved everything over. All of my crap got moved over here, and yeah, in the process I put my eyelash curler somewhere. This is going really clumpy. This is why you don't talk while doing mascara, guys. Let's just grab the other one again. Yeah, in the process I misplaced my eyelash curler. I'm not quite sure where it is right now. Okay, my lashes are completely mad. I wouldn't usually put this much mascara. I wouldn't usually put this much mascara on, but like I said, today I'm having an off day and things are just going the way they're going. I'm going to put a little bit of the Innisfree one on the bottom lash line, but only a tiny bit because, like I said, my eyes are watering and it will end up everywhere because, I mean, I always use a waterproof formula on my bottom lash line, but when my eyes get super watery, even waterproof mascara smudges on me, I always pinch off the end of my lashes like that to make sure there isn't too much product on the ends because they're a bit long and they touch my under eye area. And I don't want a load of mascara touching my concealer. So I'll just pinch that like this so that there's not too much under there. Lips dried down, it looks a bit dry, but that's partly because my lips were dry underneath because I kept biting them. So that's really my own fault rather than the makeup. I'm just going to wash my hands, take my headband off, put my hair down, and we will evaluate what is going on here. Okay, let's evaluate the situation. First of all, let's start with things that were my fault. First of all, my eyes are watering, which means it's affecting the concealer, powder and eyeshadow under my eyes. That's just hay fever and life. I messed up a bit with the brows. I got some product up here above my brow that I tried to wipe off and it wiped off my base slightly. My lips are dry, as I've said like 1,000,001 times, so putting a liquid lip on today, it's not really, like usually if my lips were dry I would not choose a liquid lip. It's a day I would choose a gloss or an oil tint or something like that, but just because we were picking most affordable products I have, it happened to be a liquid lip. But, you know, I wouldn't have picked that with my lips where they are today. So let's talk about some of the products. The Primer. The primer, I guess it does mattify. It's not really something I need right now. I bought that when my skin was oilier. It's good in hot weather. Like if I'm going into super hot weather and I'm wearing makeup, I do put a little bit like around the center of my face, around my pores, here on my cheeks and my chin, where I tend to get the most foundation breakup, and it does help with that. The foundation definitely oxidized, smells terrible, but it's a good foundation. Like if you have slightly less dry skin than me and you want something that's going to be quite long wearing, the Wet n Wild Photo Focus is a really good affordable option. Concealers, I love the Collection concealer. The Revolution concealer is okay. I think it's meant to be like, trying to be like the Tarte Shape Tape, and I wouldn't say that it is, but it is okay. It was slightly the wrong colour today, and I had a bit of issue trying to cover the blemish that I have on the side of my face here, which was, I think, partly the fault of the foundation and partly the fault of the concealer, and partly the fault of me for picking at a thing I had on my face. What was next? The e.l.f. Aqua Duo is discontinued. It's a bit orange, but I do still like it. I didn't use the blush in there today, but the blush is quite a pretty, vibrant colour for summer. Powder. This powder is okay. It's a little bit, again, the theme of this, all of these products were a little bit drying. I think that's the thing I'm finding with a lot of these products is for dry skin, they don't quite have the right formula. Like they don't have the more higher end hydrating skincare kind of ingredients, something like, you know, like the Clinique Better, Even Better, that's why. Like the Clinique Even Better range of foundations, for example, have like skin caring ingredients in them. I do prefer something a little bit dewier, a little bit less dry. I feel a bit, like your face feels tight. I feel a bit tight. The powder is fine. At least it's translucent, it's not tinted, it won't discolor anything. In my experience, it hasn't given flashback. I don't know if anyone else has an experience with that. I obviously don't bake, I don't pack a ton of this on, but I haven't had a problem with pictures. The blusher is very pigmented. Like I say, Revolution don't make that exact blush anymore, but they still do make single cheap blushes. L'Oreal Back to Bronze, great bronzer, not too orange, definitely less orange than the cream bronzer that I have on my face. The highlights are really good and intense and glowy and affordable. I really like the other one, I think it's Petal or something like that. I chose to use the light one today because I am a bit pale, but it turned out to be a bit too pink for my personal taste. It's not particularly natural. I prefer more of a natural highlight. My more expensive highlights actually tend to be my more natural highlights. I think it's actually, looking at what's available on the market in terms of cheaper products, it seems to be quite easy to cheaply formulate something that is really strong and metallic and glowy. It seems to be harder for companies to make products that actually really look like a natural glow, and I think that's what you're paying for with a more expensive highlight. You're paying for something that looks more natural. It definitely doesn't look natural, it looks very pink. What's next? The eyeshadow palette. If you're looking for something everyday, neutral, pinkish, flattering, I think this is a nice eyeshadow palette. It's certainly very affordable. It's not the most pigmented ever. If you're looking for a metallic that's really going to give you some oomph, you're not going to find it here. But for sort of an everyday, soft kind of look, I think it's perfectly fine. Rimmel Scandal Eyes, good liner. It's hard to work with. Sometimes I find it hard to do wing liner with it. But if you're putting it on the waterline, it does last really well. It does promise to be like a 24-hour wear liner. I wouldn't necessarily say it's 24 hours, but it does last on the waterline a lot better than other formulas, and it is very affordable. NYX Micro Brow, love that. Use it all the time. NYX Brow Gel, it's fine. I wish the wand was a bit different, but the actual brow gel is really good. What next? Mascaras, use the same duo all the time. Lips, I love the lip liner. This one from Gosh, like I really like the colour of it, and it lasts really well. It is a bit like of a waxy, thicker formula, so I would recommend making sure your lips are hydrated, but it says it's waterproof and it does last really well. Similarly, the Stay Matte liquid lipstick is, you know, if you're looking for an affordable liquid lipstick, it's really, you know, it's a fine formula. It's not the most pigmented ever. When I was putting it on, it wasn't like completely covering the lip liner underneath, but I put on like a extra little coat and it's, you know, covered very nicely without getting like super gross and bunchy. You know, like sometimes with liquid lipsticks, you don't get the coverage you want straight away with one coat, so then you go in with more and then it gets super like gloopy, it doesn't dry down, it kind of bunches up in your lips. Like this one doesn't do that. You can go in and like make sure everything is nicely covered and the pigmentation is nicely spread out and smooth and even, and it doesn't do a weird bunchy thing. And it's now completely dried down, but it doesn't feel, it's not super drying. Like I don't own any that are super drying because I do have dry lips and they just don't look good on me. Like I know the lip lingerie from NYX, everyone was raving about that like a few years back, and I bought one and I hated it. Like I hated it so much. But this one is fine. It's a nice colour. I do like it. It's an everyday colour. I think this goes with the blush shade really well. Where's my blush? Yeah, these two, like the blush and the liquid lip, tie in really nicely in terms of colour. Setting spray, the NYX setting spray, the dewy one, I do really like. My face still feels dry. Like I put a ton of this on and just the foundation and powder is just, I mean, not even really the powder because I hardly put any powder on. It's more the foundation. The foundation does feel drying and kind of tight on my skin. It's going to be better for people with a slightly oilier skin type. And the Make It Dewy setting spray has taken down kind of a powdery finish a bit, but my skin still feels really dry even though I had all my moisturizers and stuff on before I started. This, you know, Milani again, Make It Dewy. This setting spray is fine. You know, I wouldn't say it's anything magical, but it's all right. I'll give it another spray. Just put a bit more on. My face feels so dry. I don't usually put setting spray on after mascara because it typically gives me panda eyes, but I'm just gonna keep my eyes open and like try not to blink while this dries. Was that everything? I'm a bit of a mess today, guys. Was that everything? I didn't use this CYO pigment. This is the cheapest like liquid eyeshadowy thing that I use, and it is really pretty. Let me just show you on my hand. It's a pale gold, this one. And if I put a little bit on my hand here, it does apply quite evenly. It is quite pigmented. It is pretty creamy and generally a nice product. I mean, these are supposed to be multi-purpose. They say made to mix. So like, I think you could probably, this foundation is bunching a bit at the corner of my mouth. You could probably, I've never tried it, mix this in with foundation or something like, I don't know, maybe they have different shades. They have different shades as well. Like some of them, I don't know what you would use for aside from eyeshadow, like a green or a blue, like what else are you going to do with that? But something like a gold or a pale pink or something, you could mix in with foundation if you wanted your foundation to be more glowy. Like I've never tried it, but they're quite pigmented and they feel quite nice. And they do dry down. Like this is quite dry now on my hand, so if you're going to put it on your eyelid, it's not going to go anywhere. But I might experiment with this at some point and try mixing it in with foundation or using it like as a highlight or something. It's a bit too gold for me to use as a highlight. I need a paler gold really. But I could mix it maybe with my Gosh drops, like my Gosh little Lumi drops that I basically mix with all liquid highlights to make them more blendable. I'm rambling. Okay, throw that down there. I'm done, guys. I'm done for the day. I need to just lie down in a corner or, you know, have a cup of tea or just watch some TV or something. Like this day has been a day. So thank you for watching. Like I never really say like and subscribe or whatever, but it feels cringy. Like it feels cringy to say it, like, but you can if you want to. You don't have to, but you can if you want to. Maybe I should have used this on my eyelashes. They're too dry to do it now. I'll just pull my eyelashes out. Maybe I should have done that earlier. Or I had these actually. I should have used these, like these little like extra mascara spoolie things. Oh, this one's got like a plastic thread coming off it. Weird. Yeah, I've got a bunch of these. I could have used these on my eyes as well to help with that mascara situation. But I forgot that I had them. yeah, okay, that was everything for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this look. I think it came out quite nicely. Like I said, some of these products are just not right for my personal skin type, and I do think it's harder sometimes at the drugstore to find the right kind of products for dry skin. Like it's easier, I think, to find if you have like combination slightly oily. There's some really good matte formulas at the drugstore. I don't think there's as good a hydrating formulas at the drugstore, just my personal experience. But it still looks cute. I wish the foundation hadn't oxidized because now I look a bit orange, but I'm not going anywhere, so it doesn't matter. I hope you're well. I hope you're, keeping yourself entertained inside. I mean, this is how I'm keeping myself entertained. Like, even if nobody watches, at least it gave me something to do for like an hour whilst I was stuck inside my house. Yeah, okay. I will see you in the next video. Bye.